coming down!
Come and play with us.
Welcome back to another fine episode of Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. It's October, which means it's time to get a little spooky. Today, we're going all the way back to 1980 to a film that I think at the time had sort of mixed reviews. From 1980, a classic director, a classic horror novel come together to make the Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall horror, thriller, crazy movie, The Shining. But folks, as usual, I'm not talking about this movie alone. I've got two gentlemen here on the Zoom call with me, as usual. The first one is a man that, God, he'd give anything for a drink. He'd give his goddamn soul for just a glass of beer. Mr. Christopher Morris, how are you? And I have a feeling you're not drinking a glass of beer this evening. What are you drinking?
Well, I'm doing well, Michael. I am drinking bourbon on the rocks. I usually don't drink it like this, but I threw ice in it, as an homage to Mr. Jack Torrance. I almost, just to show you, I almost went with. I could not quite change the numbers on my IPA.
Almost, I can see it. Yeah,
it's an 87, but it almost made 237. But
and the reflection almost looks like a 3. It works.
Yeah, then I'll go with it. You know what? I'll drink both.
That's a good idea. Good plan. And as I said, there's two people here joining us tonight. This next man, I would say he epitomizes the phrase "all work and no play make David a dumb boy." Dull boy, excuse me. Mr. David Corsetto, how is your phone fully charged? How are you doing? Do you have to pick up your son tonight? And what are you drinking?
Okay, I don't need to pick my son up. I'm drinking bourbon, and I'm drinking it straight tonight. I'm opposite of Chris.
Wow.
I usually drink with ice, but this is a really good bourbon, so I don't want to dull it with water.
I agree with you 100%. I would not ruin that bourbon. I haven't had bourbon with ice in at least 15 years, I would say. But I did it just as a tip of the cap to.
I do have a bit of a problem.
I just had.
Well, I think I really do resonate with Jack, because I think I do have a bit of a problem with the drink here. So I think I will have a much better feel for where Jack is.
I meant to talk to you about that. We'll talk after the show, Michael. It's called an intervention.
Yes, yeah. We'll sit you down.
Get the text chain going. Okay, but I just had a question, Michael.
Yes.
I was a little confused, so I'm not really prepared. You just said to us the greatest horror movie of all time. That's what David kept talking about. So I assumed what we were doing.
Classic.
What year is this movie, Michael?
I would say 2014, but that's just a guess.
So I just assumed greatest horror movie. I did my sketch again, which I have sketches all over the house.
He premiered that on an episode of Joggers.
We're gonna get this on YouTube, Mike. We're gonna convert now. Go ahead.
I don't know if you need to convert, but yes. So this is that's what I prepared for.
Okay,
so everyone out there
there is some swallowing in this movie. I saw it.
Wait. The reason why we're all laughing is Chris had a nice sketch of the human centipede.
Yes.
Which literally made me almost spit my bourbon out.
Which I believe was drawn freehand, and it showed some talent. It was very nice.
It sure was. I've still yet to see this movie, but
I've never.
I have not seen the movie either, but I love the arrow depicting the food going into the guy's
where
mouth.
it goes.
I mean, that's the Great Doctor, I guess, that, I'm still dying to see it.
The Shining. Now, I didn't say what I'm drinking. You guys were giving homages to Jack Torrance and what he was drinking, but I'm telling you, he wasn't drinking any of that. He wasn't drinking at all.
This is
so
a good one.
That's why I'm enjoying a nice Diet Sunkist this evening. Diet Sunkist. Tastes like orange.
Wow, that's what he thinks of your movie, Dave.
Yum yum yum.
It's fucking horrible.
Yum yum yum.
Oh, I get it, because Dick Halloran was in Florida.
Exactly. He was at Florida with his sexy booby posters. Now, so I talked about this is a 1980 film directed by Stanley Kubrick.
No, let's say Kubrick.
Kubrick. Written with screenplay by Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson, based somewhat on the novel by Stephen King, and starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Dave's new crush, Danny Lloyd, Scatman Crothers, and Eddie O'Shea as man in bear dog costume. That's what I wrote down. I had to know his name.
Mikey's new crush.
My new crush. I'm not going to make you a quiz for it. It scores an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 66 on Metacritic. It's not in the AFI Institute of Top 100 American Movies of All Time. It is nominated for 0 Oscars. At the time, I feel like it had mixed reviews, but it has gone on to be considered a classic. And it was probably too cerebral, is that the word, for its time? So much so that people have made documentaries trying to read into this movie and see fucking faces and clouds. And I tried to watch this documentary.
It was fantastic.
Oh, it's a great documentary. Those people are, mostly
great documentary. A shout out to Greg Morris for actually, letting me know about this documentary. I loved it.
Look,
people out
right
there watch it.
Look, if he turns, he's got an erection. Oh, okay. There we go. There it is, frame by frame. Oh.
Okay, hold on. This movie may not have done well critically in the beginning, but it picked up a lot of steam as the years gone on.
Oh yeah,
it is definitely one of the top.
It is a classic, and it with amazing performances.
Oh, I mean, just visually, we'll get into. Well, I guess we can get into it now. About, I don't know, Dave. Do you remember the first time you saw it?
I was definitely on the younger side, and it scared the absolute shit out of me. And I remember, even if my sister, I know my sister doesn't, my little sister doesn't listen to this, but if she did, she would terrify me every night by just saying red rum. I would freak the fuck out and go sit in my mother's room every night from this movie.
See, I think I knew about red rum, the girls, maybe the hallway years before I even saw the movie. It was just kind of or at least red rum. I definitely knew way before I saw the movie.
So my first memory of it, and I didn't see it when it came out, obviously. I shouldn't say obviously, I did see Jaws at 5. But so my first memory is seeing the trailer, just seeing the elevator. The trailer was just the elevator, and I'm like, that's the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen. I didn't talk like that at 10, but you can imagine.
Sure you didn't.
So just seeing that trailer, I was like, oh my God, that's a movie? And I eventually ended up seeing it, I think in parts, bits and pieces I remember seeing at my grandparents. I remember first seeing the red room scene and being like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And, but yes, thought it was a classic. And over the years, of course, have gone on to shown my kids how great it was. Oh, my son doesn't think it. Well, he's 13, not 10. So, it's just, we'll talk about how unbelievable it's shot. I probably say that about every movie, but visually, it's so bright. This is a horror movie. No other horror movie has the camera moving all the time, and just
that's the auteur of Kubrick.
Shots. Right, and obviously, it's Kubrick's Shining, Kubrick's version of The Shining.
Yes. Now you two gentlemen have read the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have not, surprisingly.
And okay, and you open this whole pod with me being the dumb one, right?
Oh no, that's the part you play. You're the buffoon. You're the dumb buffoon.
So I say
You say I'm dumb, but I can read. Yes, David, very good. You can read. Very good.
Mic drop right there.
This is actually one of my daughter's favorite movies too. So I feel like I brought her up well, because this movie to me is one of the most cerebral horror movies of all time.
Oh yes.
It definitely has so many different layers. Consistently makes you think. It actually brings me to YouTube way more to try to figure out what the hell Kubrick was even thinking in some of these dialogues, in some of these scenes. It was just ridiculous.
Well, like we mentioned, a lot of it, like you mentioned, is just that for people to speculate. I think he has such attention to detail that in every shot he'll remove something, and everybody's like, that's a continuity error. But like I don't know if you saw Danny's poster had a Doc character was removed, and it's like, are you kidding me? But it's just, so he does a lot of stuff with that. I think a lot of it, it's about, he purposely, with all the imagery and everything, he does, it's a lot of just the subconscious. You know what I mean? Obviously, the story is about, people take it as to mean the genocide of like the underlying thing to be
the genocide of Native Americans,
the Holocaust, something about the the moon landing. But and it could also be
sex.
Another one. Yep, absolutely. A lot of it's the subconscious, but it could be about writer's block. You know what I mean? Like I think it could be like
Stephen King does. When you think about how many times he writes about writers.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Kubrick used and if you watch 237, he used a German typewriter.
See, those are the things where
and then replaced it. So it wasn't done by mistake. Right, and he did have a lot of.
It's about the Holocaust. I don't think so.
But he also had a lot of Native American depiction throughout the movie as well.
Yes, and he might have thrown that in because he wanted that underlying theme. But I mean, like Mike said, a lot of it is probably because he was also like, I'm going to throw this in there, and people are gonna. Yeah, people will be hopefully.
Using the whole frame,
trying to break it down, but it just the way he uses the camera in the opening scene, even, and just the POV shots, Mike, not the kind you're used to, not the POV.
Oh my God, with eye contact. Oh boy,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea.
But just the camera's always moving. Just it's unbelievable.
The like nowadays. Like, a drone, CGI, but that opening helicopter shot over just the landscape.
Yeah.
One of the scariest.
By the way, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tim.
One of the scariest opening scenes with no dialogue.
See, I didn't find that.
It might be my favorite shot.
Scary.
It might even be my favorite part. I watch it over and over again.
It's one of the creepiest starts of any movie without dialogue. The score on that.
Oh, the score. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Unsettling. Yes.
Well,
it automatically sucks you into the movie without even knowing who the characters are.
Right.
And I hadn't seen the movie in so many years that I was not ready for these little flashes right at the beginning of, like, they're giving that, like, they're showing that already. They're showing this already. The little foreshadowing, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So, and you mentioned Stephen King. Obviously, Stephen King didn't like. So everybody knows Stephen King didn't like this version of The Shining, but Kubrick wasn't a huge fan of the book. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, this is what I think. And then when you got Diane Johnston, is that her name, Diane Johnson? Or,
Johnson.
He said, I needed to get a real writer, like a real classic writer or something, a real professional writer to work on it to make it what I envisioned.
Yeah, we obviously liked the story, but not the style. Yeah.
And listen, the story. I tell you this though, you like Stephen King as much as I do, Chris. Right?
Absolutely.
He's a great
story's better. I told you.
I love the story. I just think, let's be honest, Stephen King does not translate to good movies. If he makes a movie, they're usually terrible.
Yeah, like Misery, Shawshank Redemption, Dead
Pet
Zone.
Cemetery.
Okay, you said usually. I can
Children
name
of the Corn,
20
Malachi.
fantastic movies.
The Stand. Terrible
Christine.
movies.
Stand By Me.
It was good.
It was good. It was great.
Yeah, it was good.
What about the Dead Zone?
Dead Zone was okay.
Okay.
What?
That point was,
Shawshank was fantastic. I'm saying the movies that he was involved in is what I'm saying.
oh, I thought
Yeah.
that he
No.
he
The movies
adapted,
that
you mean specifically? Yes. But
Yeah.
again, I want to give credit to like the story itself. Like I said to Dave, I thought he would be offended. I said the story in the book is actually better because Jack has more of a character arc.
right.
That is
Where he's more sympathetic. Jack in the movie is from the jump. You're like, he's not sympathetic. You don't like him. You're like, he's not
Arrogant.
likable. Even when even when they tell him the story of the Grady, he's like, yeah, wow, yeah, it's kind of.
it's not gonna happen to me.
We'll get to it though, right?
But it does kind of happen to him, just like all of a sudden, it's a little bit like it. There's nothing.
It's a gradual, but I mean, obviously it's a 2-hour movie, so it's a gradual, but it's quick.
Yeah.
But in the
Not
book,
gradual. My point is not. Guy was like he seems like an asshole, anyways. And
well,
then
the book is completely different. Yeah.
Well, the end is completely different, especially, and you're supposed to be sympathetic towards him. But again, that's not what this movie is, and that's not what I want this movie to be. You know what I mean? Nicholson is the best. Nicholson is the best part of this movie. That's like, that's kind of how he became Nicholson. Not how he became, but that's like how people like, holy shit, his persona on the screen is just villain. Although,
like,
maybe one of the worst villains of all time, most inept villains of all time, villain. When we'll get to it, but
he was doing things there that it made me think, oh, geez, like he does that 10 years from now as the Joker. Like little things where
yes, I saw the same thing because you gotta remember it's only 7 years.
He was absolutely in the Joker, right?
Yep.
So so Nicholson's again. This is Kubrick's baby, but Nicholson is obviously this movie wouldn't be the same without Nicholson.
Yeah, but Shelley Duvall's pretty great too.
So we can get it. So if they had Shelley Duvall and I almost said Gene Hackman, but I would not besmirch Gene Hackman. I'm trying to think of who else would they have had if they couldn't get Nicholson in that.
Burt Reynolds. It's 1980. Burt Reynolds, obviously. Hey, Wendy.
Robert Redford.
Wendy, give me the bat. Come on, Wendy, give me the bat.
All right.
Chewing his gum.
Let's get into it, Dave. Do you want to? I have the. You want me to lay out the plot and then?
Go ahead. You go and I'll tag on.
David has notes.
No, we'll be good.
Opening scene we talked about. It's my favorite scene. I could honestly watch this over and over again with the Dies Irae. I don't even know who wrote that classical music. It's Day of Wrath, which is great. That's the translation.
So that was already something.
Yes, that's classical. That's not the score. That's a classical.
I had no idea.
The 19th century, I think, and so it's great. It's obvious. It's awesome, obviously. And then it's funny because you see the Kubrick title. It's funny. It's Stanley Kubrick's.
It's so like
plain.
Huh? It's so plain.
Yes. Like and it's like that, and it goes by so fast. It says, it's just funny how and then it's gone. You know what I mean? I mean, you get the music and David's yawning already. So you get the music and the and the credits, and then it goes to the interview, and then Jack walking in with Mr. Ullman. This guy's great. This guy's actually
what a head of hair, and he was
that was a wig.
He's like hip.
It was stunning.
He was. But yes, so Nicholson, charming, but not really. You know what I mean? Like he's like, walks in, kind of likable, but not really. Asks where Mr. Ullman is. And then they flash back to Wendy and Danny. We meet them. And he's saying he has no friends. And that's when we meet Tony.
There's hardly anybody to play with around here.
Yeah, I know.
It always takes a little time to make new friends.
Yeah, I guess so.
What about Tony? He's looking forward to the hotel, I bet.
Hi, Mr. Torch.
Oh, come on, Tony. Don't be silly.
I don't want to go there, Mrs. Torch.
Well, how come you don't want to go?
I just don't.
Well, let's just wait and see. We're all going to have a real good time.
Yeah.
Tony lives in his mouth, right?
Lived in his stomach.
Right. Sometimes
He
his
li-
stomach, sometimes his mouth, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that he goes to his stomach or something.
How you doing? I'm Tony.
By the way, Jack, like he thinks this is a great idea to take his family, even if it wasn't possessed, and like take his family from October to May. Like, God damn it, what would they have?
No Wi-Fi?
Kill me.
No teeth. Okay, I don't
No
see Danny
nothing.
getting caught in anything either. There was
No
no
friend.
teaching of Danny.
You what?
There was no schooling for Danny either, I don't think. He was
No,
on his bicycle a lot.
Yeah, just seemed like a bad plan from the jump.
He's a bright kid, though. Tell you.
He's a bright kid. So back to
Very
the
bright.
he
He's
meets
got
the other
this-
guy. I don't even know the purpose of that other guy.
I was expecting him
He
to
was the-
show
he
up
was the-
later.
No, he was the caretaker. He was the caretaker.
He was a
Yeah.
former caretaker.
No, he was the caretaker during season. Like he was the one that was doing
Oh,
Jack's
okay.
job during the
Bill didn't have much of a. I guess that guy was in a bunch of movies, but I
Yeah.
looked it up. I was like, what's the deal with? I forget his name even. Let's hope a lot of Shining fanatics are not listening to this because they're
Ooh. Shineheads.
Shinehead. They're cursing right now. So he meets that guy. Jack asks. He tells him the story. Where they close it because of this 25-mile. Just because it costs. It's not cost effective. They'd have to plow the 25-mile stretch. They get 20 feet snow per winter. Built in 1907. Is that right? Tells him about the
1907,
job.
yeah.
Jack's
Yeah.
like, I'm a writer. Tells him. So then he tells him the story about Charles Grady.
But
He's
first, he says,
but-
I'm a former teacher.
Yeah.
I was trying to read something into why is he a former teacher? Probably because he was drinking.
Well, that was in the book. It was he had a physical altercation with the student, but
Okay.
I don't think they
Yeah.
care about that as much in the
But that was me kind of like, yeah, I used to be a teacher. Now he's
Well,
former.
this is when, I think this is also when you get Danny's. You finally get a glimpse into what Danny actually understands and knows. You see him shining now because he's in the mirror brushing his teeth.
Oh, he's like, he'll call. He got
well, when we
broken.
get to that.
That's
Yeah.
true. That always happens.
But yeah, he tells him the story about it's just funny how he tells the Grady story.
Well, before I turn you over to Bill, there's one other thing I think we should talk about. I don't want to sound melodramatic, but it's something that's been known to give a few people second thoughts about the job.
I'm intrigued.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970?
I don't believe they did.
Well, my predecessor in this job hired a man named Charles Grady as the winter caretaker. And he came up here with his wife and two little girls, I think about 8 and 10. And he had a good employment record, good references. And from what I've been told, I mean, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and he killed his family with an axe. Stacked them neatly in one of the rooms of the West Wing, and then he put both barrels of a shotgun in his mouth. Police, they thought that it was what the old-timers used to call cabin fever. Kind of claustrophobic reaction, which can occur when people are shut in together over long periods of time.
Well, that is quite a story.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's still hard for me to believe it actually happened here. But it did. And I think you can appreciate why I wanted to tell you about it.
I certainly can, and I also understand why your people in Denver left it for you to tell me.
Well, obviously, I mean, some people can be put off by the idea of staying alone in a place where something like that actually happened.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
The way he phrases it, he must have suffered a complete mental breakdown. He goes, he ran amok.
He chopped up his family.
And then the way Jack just says, well, that's quite a story. I'm like, they almost laugh about it, Well, that's not going to happen with me. Oh, thanks.
Like famous last words. Yeah.
Happen with me. My wife's a horror movie addict. He says something like that, which is pretty cool. Then you have Tony telling Danny he's, your father got your job, and then that's when he has his little.
Is there another book question? Is there any more expansion onto what Tony is, or is that just what is Tony? Did they ever explain in the book what the hell it is?
It's his ability to kind of have it's his vision. Tony's his vision.
Tony's the shine.
Yeah.
Right. He just calls it Tony.
Because he was kind of taken over, later. I don't know if there was something else going on.
It's actually Danny Anthony Torrance is actually middle name. So it's like, I don't know. It's when he's getting the shining, I guess he's Tony. Tony's not a real.
But in the 237 film, which I did.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Okay. As you're going into the room when he's brushing his teeth, the last stick you see is Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs, right? Yeah. And then when the doctor goes in and does their examination and leaves, Dopey's gone.
I know.
I love that. Love that.
A quick aside. JD just hit a 3-run home run. The Sox are up 8-5. Okay, now back to the.
Who gives a shit?
I know.
Baseball. Baseball's dead. But my point to that is Danny, and I love that part. Danny finally realizes what the hell is going on, so he knows what's happening before he enters into that hotel. So he knows what's going to happen with his dad, and he knows what's going to happen at the end.
Oh, because he's seeing the visions of the girls.
So that Dopey sticker on that door leading into his bedroom is gone. That's what the whole 237 was about.
And I buy that, and I buy things like that.
He's no longer.
You have to buy that.
So
he's no longer Dopey to it anymore. He knows what's going to happen.
Right. Okay. I mean, I buy little things like that, but I'm just,
they put Sneezy there instead.
Oh, come on. I mean,
he should have put Doc.
Yes.
Well, that's, but that's why he was done. So
bashful.
This is when you get the first iconic shot of blood pouring from the elevator, which is really amazing. Just looking at that right?
I think was that a miniature? How they did that? I never.
No. They did.
It was an actual elevator with a lot of
2 rooms. They had to do it twice. They did it and they cleaned it up and they did it again. That was the actual, fake blood they used, and because it looks like how the hell? No, we're not talking miniature. We're not talking Hereditary. We might go there. It wouldn't be the worst thing. So then the doctor checks out Danny, asks if he remembers. She's talking to Wendy. He was in a self-induced trance. She's like, he's physically fine. Wendy sparks up a butt.
And the officer went to the doctor.
Did you notice how many books were in that apartment?
No.
Really?
No, I didn't notice.
Thousands of books.
He's a writer.
Yes. But I don't know. It's symbolic of something.
Yes.
But again, you've seen this way more than me.
It's symbolic of the library.
It's symbolic of the knowledge.
There were 237 books.
There probably were. Kubrick fills the background with like everything, This attention to detail is ridiculous.
I'm gonna go back and count how many books there are. I bet there are 237 books. Go ahead.
All right, bring it up right now.
We'll pause it.
No, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. So she says, so the doctor is asking if Tony's arrival coincided with them arriving to Boulder. Danny had an injury. This is funny. Dislocated shoulder. The way Wendy says it. Well, purely an accident. These things happen. She's like, these things happen. My husband had been drinking. Purely.
Right. She says it's so that's the way things are.
She's like, well, but good came out of it. Anyways, Jack swore off drinking. Hasn't had a drink in 5 months.
I was like, ooh, only 5 months. I was expecting longer.
5 whole months. So closing day, Another great overhead.
I love all the title cards too. Just kind of.
Yes. There it is. So Dave, they're driving up after on closing day, and then I'm hungry, and you could tell Jack's like, you should have eaten breakfast. He's a little smirk. By the way, the kid's not a great actor, but
he's not a great actor, but
it works perfectly.
He's got a great face when he's frightened.
Exactly, it works perfectly. He doesn't need to be a great actor when he's his dialogue.
Does Jack even like Wendy? He seems completely.
Jack. If you think about Jack feels weighed down by Wendy and Dan.
Yeah,
they're like anchors around his neck. However,
he literally says that, but kind of not literally.
But that basically. Was like, okay, but Chris, in that ride there, that was I think the first time he used his like the eyebrow raise.
He's an asshole.
He's an asshole, but he raises his eyebrows when he's talking to.
We'll get more into it, but his great this great opportunity where I'm a schlub, caretaker, where Wendy does all the work, and
but 5 months where you could just
you ruined my one chance. The guy's a scumbag.
Imagine if we could just podcast for 5 months without having to do anything else. Oh.
Exactly. My podcast,
the dream.
Oh, and then they mentioned the Donner Party. You've heard it. It's a famous party.
That's where they ate each other up. I love that.
What?
Scene.
Oh,
I know about cannibalism.
Yeah.
See, he saw it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Jack, he's great. Nicholson, he's like, see, he saw it on the TV.
It's like he's the cat who got the canary. I don't know what, like he's just constantly, even when he seems to be like sincere, it's some kind of, he seems volatile.
His eyebrow goes up.
So untrusting.
Yeah. So that's what he mentioned. He saw it on the television. He says it with a smirk. So then Ullman comes with his slacks, with his red slacks, and guy looks like
hold on. But that's when you see the guy mopping the floor. It's like he's mopping the forest.
Jesus Christ. That's where I said this fucking documentary sucks. I want to get to the good stuff, the stuff with the car, like the stuff with the moon landing. It's like, look, and right here, there's now if you see the dissolve's longer than a normal dissolve. If you look at the cloud,
all this is probably by design, but
yeah. See
that was by design, Mikey. So shut up.
Yeah. See that that grape over there? That's Stanley Kubrick's freckle.
When we do the Room 237 podcast, it's gonna take 3 hours. And
a lot of Tom Cruise, a lot more Tom Cruise in that than I expected.
Oh God.
Yes, the opening. We Eyes Wide Shut. I got to rewatch that really. So this is Ullman gives the tour. Wendy is like such a bumpkin. She's like, this place is great. This place is the fanciest place I've ever seen.
Well, she was wearing red flannels under a fucking jean skirt. So.
Hey, I am Team Wendy now. I told you.
I love Wendy. I think she's hot.
Well, that's a bridge too far.
There are moments where she looks nice. Like she just has a nice, pleasant look about her.
He comes in second out of the women of the Overlook, but we'll get to that. We have a rating system.
So, I think I know who comes in third. She also comes in first.
Yes. So, all right, Ullman shows him the quarters, living room, bedroom, bathroom. Always, all the cameras. I love how the camera like does like a shot over to give you the point of view of the bedroom, and then comes back. Camera's always moving, like I said. And then he's like, when was it built? 1907, Dave? Is that what it is? 1909?
Yes. Yeah.
Built on an Indian burial ground.
I was like, oh shit. When I heard that, I was uh-oh.
Poltergeist. So, so shows him the gold ballroom. We always remove the booze. And then we meet the great Dick Halloran. So Scatman Crothers, I guess Kubrick, did you read that? Kubrick did not want him.
No.
Kubrick wanted Slim Pickens, the great Slim Pickens.
Oh, he wanted Slim back.
And he was busy. And I mean, it might be speculation, but I guess the shooting took so long that Slim Pickens became available because they shot for so long. And then Kubrick had Scatman do so many takes that he wanted him to quit. I don't know if that's true, but
he's notoriously tough. I mean,
Oh, he has them do. Supposedly,
Kubrick,
it's in the Guinness Book of World Record. He had Scatman and Danny in the scene in the kitchen when they're talking about The Shining. They did it like 134 times.
Really?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough for poor old. And by the way, I thought Scatman Crothers was great.
Yeah,
I thought it was fantastic, and
So-
I can't that.
Favorite
But hold
acting
on.
performance in this for me.
But you fucked it up for me, Chris, because now all I can think about is this long ass journey there.
No, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Yeah.
That's
That's by design too. That's the worst part. And I think Scatman was pissed about it. Like he actually, because he read the book.
Yeah, of course.
So Nicholson was buddies with Scatman Crothers from
they're Cuckoo's Nest.
Cuckoo's Nest. So he wanted him in it. So that's how he got the job. So then he meets him. He gives them a tour of the kitchen. You see the tour of the kitchen. Those nuts in room 237. Like,
Yeah.
taking note of all the geography of the kitchen and the layout and all that. But
Look at the cornflakes.
but then you have the Indian imagery and different products. But so then Dick's like, you like lamb, Doc? And then it's, how do you know we call him Doc?
That was cool. Yeah. Oh, I
That is
must have
cool.
heard it.
Oh, you must have said it, but it's pretty awesome. The Shining, the book, and the book was really great, but it's pretty cool. The Shining, how he, talks
He
to
knows
him.
it, and when he turns and smiles while he's having a conversation with them.
Yep, having a conveation. He says, asks him if he wants ice cream, right? Grandmother.
Yes.
So his grandmother called it The Shining. That's how she. And then he's like, Tony told me to never tell.
So it's funny. It was always funny to me. The movie's called The Shining, and that's what the kid has, and that's what Scatman has. But that's not really what the movie's about. It's more about unless Jack has it and just didn't,
Right.
Well, that's always been debatable in the book. Does Jack have
Yes.
the
Right.
Shining? Right.
Well, and then also the hotel wants Danny.
Yeah.
We'll get to that, but the hotel really wants
Okay.
Danny.
because
But
to me
the-
the Shining is a good
Jack is so
thing.
weak. Yeah. So
Is it a good thing, Mikey?
The Shining, the power is a good thing. It's a nice thing. But
so
some bad stuff happens.
seems like it's more prevalent in Doctor Sleep, which we
Yes.
like the actual Shining, but again, it's and more prevalent in the book, obviously. So, but right, Kubrick had his own thing, and it's the Overlook. The movie could have been called The Overlook, right?
Yeah, but the Overlook is a entity in itself.
It's
Obviously.
a character in this movie.
Yeah, but that's my
No,
point.
but-
That's
yeah.
what the movie is about.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
And it wants
Yeah,
to devour, and it wants to devour Danny's Shining. Obviously,
Right.
That's what it wants.
And Dick says some places have the Shining,
Yeah.
Shining's like people, some shine, some don't.
But Dick wasn't like, "Ooh, you shouldn't be here." Like he didn't.
Well, but what Danny even asked him, are you afraid of this place? Are you
Right.
scared to be here? And Dan he actually thought about it for a second before he answered, because he knows there are evil entities obviously in that building. Or the
Yeah,
building
but then he's
now.
like, oh yeah. What about room 237? Don't ever fucking go in room 237.
Did he say they were like?
This place is great. This place is great, but 237.
Who told you
that's-
about that?
Not so
And-
great.
He's 100% right.
Didn't he say something like they're just pictures in a book or something?
Pictures in a book.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's just all imaginary.
They're not
So,
real.
all right, month later, Danny's riding around. It's pretty awesome.
That is.
Like
I want
background.
to see how they shot that.
Camera. But you would think it'd be boring. It's just him riding around. You're like, this is
That's
so
iconic
cool.
because every corner
So-
you're expecting something.
So
But
cool.
okay, in 237, it does
Oh,
make it seem
shit.
like he should not be able to ride that bike to the areas that he rides, which is true when you think about it.
What do you mean? Explain
What do
this
you
one to
mean?
me.
He starts off in the fucking in the basement basically,
Yeah.
and then he ends up upstairs.
Yeah.
Like
So he
how?
carried his big wheels upstairs. You carry a big field. Boom! I solved it. Nerds.
Sorry, I had a technical glitch.
He flew up the stairs.
Kubrick designed that for a reason.
Yes,
Took
the
blood
reason was
elevator.
they didn't want to show him carrying upstairs, so they edited it out. That's the reason. We didn't see the whole
The
3.5
fucking
hour It took Jack. Let me ask you something. It took Jack 3.5 hours to get to the Overlook, but how come in the movie it only took 35 seconds? That means something. Yes, it's called editing, dickhead.
Let me get to my bourbon on the rock.
Wow, Mikey.
I just watched this movie and I was just because when I talked to you and how good it was, and then your daughter got on and goes, "It's so stupid."
Edit that out, Mike. Edit that out.
Wait, you said she loves it.
No, the 237. She goes,
okay.
She goes, there's a lot of reaches.
Of course it is. You don't buy most of it.
I didn't get to. I'll finish it.
Did we talk about the impossible window? That window can't be there. If you look at the geography of the place,
they'd have to put a hole in the wall to get a window there.
Okay,
so,
shut up.
Danny rides around, and then Wendy, the great wife that she is, brings breakfast to Jack. He's sleeping till 11:30. Working hard.
But that's where
talking about the place.
That's where the initial change starts happening, Chris, with him. Right? That's where you see the initial changing. It starts.
Right. He's going from being an asshole to a crazy asshole.
Well, it goes from an asshole to be like, I love this place. It's the best place I've ever been to.
He did.
It's like I've been here before. I've been here.
Deja vu.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's obviously getting possessed by the Overlook or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting enchanted.
Yep.
Exactly. And then they show the typewriter close up, and then
enchanted.
You see the button in the ashtray, and he's just throwing the ball off the wall, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Working hard. Then Wendy and Danny in the maze. We got some foreshadowing. Dave's favorite here. Jack's looking at the model of it, and they're in the maze, basically looking at his death, in the future.
Is that also the first shot of him just kind of staring blankly?
No.
Kind of, yes. Yeah.
A little bit, but
right.
Not really. In the book, it wasn't even a maze. It was all topiary animals.
Oh, really?
That came alive.
Yes. Yep. There was no maze. It was totally different, right? So we're not doing the book.
Wow. You think of those iconic things. In the book, it was a bed and breakfast.
But what I'm saying is, in the movie, it's the iconic maze. In the book, it doesn't even exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Things that are so iconic weren't even in the book, right?
No, it's Kubrick's baby. It really is this is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. This is not Stephen King's The Shining. That's for shit, sure. So, all right, Tuesday. I love how they do the titles. Is Tuesday, Wendy pouring food in the bowls. You see news about a missing woman. God knows that probably meant something.
Right. I was thinking if I had never seen this, I thought, oh, that's going to come back.
Yeah. Then you see Danny again riding around, sees room 237. He goes to the door. It's locked. The music is great. The score is great throughout. It's just so scary. Jack's typing away.
Is this the scene right here over my shoulder?
This is a great scene. Yes, he's looking back at 237 exactly.
And
this is the scene where she comes in. Right, she comes in all happy. Hi, hon. You got a lot written, and this is where he does his. She's like, "Don't be so grouchy." Let me explain something to you, Dave. Go ahead, do it.
Hold on. This is the most cringeworthy shot of all of them, and this is where I asked my daughter. And any female that I've watched this with, I've asked them, "How would you react to this conversation?" And every female that I've had them watch this, they're like, "I'd fucking murder you." So go ahead.
Today I'm working from home and my wife had the day off and she started talking to me while I'm trying to do something. So I had my earbuds in and I threw them down. I was like, oh, I'm trying to write this email. And then I go, here, let me play something for you. And I played this.
Hi, hon. How's it going?
Fine.
Get a lot written today?
Yes.
Hey, the weather forecast said it's gonna snow tonight.
What do you want me to do about it?
Oh, Come on, hon. Don't be so grouchy.
I'm not being grouchy. I just want to finish my work.
Okay, I understand. I'll come back later on with a couple of sandwiches for you, and maybe you'll let me read something then.
Wendy, let me explain something to you. Whenever you come in here and interrupt me, you're breaking my concentration. You're distracting me, and it will then take me time to get back to where I was. Understand?
Yeah?
Fine. And we're gonna make a new rule. Whenever I'm in here, and you hear me typing, whether you don't hear me typing, whether the fuck you hear me doing in here, when I'm in here, that means that I am working. That means don't come in. Now, do you think you can handle that?
Yeah.
Fine. Why don't you start right now and get the fuck out of here?
And then she heard it and said, "That's so mean." I go, "That's how I feel whenever the door opens and I'm working." I go, "Obviously, I'm not that bad. I feel terrible for doing that, but I'm like, I just want to work when I'm working. When I'm not working,
I can't wait till you edit that in.
Chris, say that. Can you? Do you have it all written down?
No, I don't. I assumed you would. I thought you took notes when he's like, "Let me explain something to you."
Wouldn't it be great if all the David's notes said all work and no play make David a dull boy?
No,
I guarantee you do.
But basically, what he says is, whether you hear me fucking typing or not typing, whatever the fuck I'm doing here,
That's the best part.
leave me the
Whether
fuck
you hear me
alone.
typing
Basically,
or don't
get the
hear me
fuck out.
typing, or whatever the fuck you hear me doing.
My favorite part, he goes, "Okay, good. Now get the fuck out."
Why don't you start by getting
Yeah.
the fuck out? Yeah.
Oh.
So yes, but I mean, this is you want him to not be an asshole, right? Obviously.
You can't help
wanna
but
root
feel.
for, you want to root for the protagonist. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, and you're like, ooh, it's just so cringeworthy, and he's such a dick,
Oh, yeah.
So he's not the husband of the year. We'll get to that in room 237.
No, he goes right for it.
So then, then we got Thursday. It cuts to Thursday, and they're out playing in the snow, Danny and Wendy. That's when you get this.
Oh, that's the
Jack staring. Yes, you're like, I
first,
think something might be wrong with. I think something might be wrong with Jack.
How many times has that been memed?
Yes, one of the many Jack shots that have been memed.
Just in our text threads.
Yeah.
Yes. None that Sean has understood.
No.
So Saturday, snow getting worse. Wendy's on the radio. She's really the caretaker, right?
Yeah.
She's running the place. Like I said, Team Wendy. She's doing the caretaker. She's talking on the radio, talking about the storm. Danny's riding around. He sees the twins.
Hello, Danny. Come and play with us. Come and play with us, Danny. Forever and ever and ever.
Hello, Danny. Come play with us.
I say that. I had a dream of that the other night. It's literally scared the shit out of me.
You had a dream of the girls in the hallway?
Someone was saying, "David, come play
Oh.
with us," and I swear to
Yeah,
God,
it's the worst dream of all time. I don't know why, but
the worst.
like I was traumatized as a kid watching, bad enough seeing the twins before, but then you see them all
Hacked
shot,
up.
just hacked up, right?
Yeah.
So then it goes to Monday.
But hold on, can you at least say that is definitely one of the most iconic scenes of any horror movie?
How many times has that been like parodied?
Oh my God, it's
The
just
Simpsons
it's
have
just-
parodied the shouting
Oh, yeah.
so much.
It's
Yeah.
just fucking disturbing.
Yes,
It's
Sorry,
so
I'm
because you know that there were two girls killed there. Plus, just the creepiness of just
Okay, but just look
the
at
way-
like If you
how
can see the
pale and dark.
background, but Mikey, if you can see the background of where you're at, if people can see that, the little kid riding a hallway by himself,
Yep.
and then he turns the corner and sees those two fucking girls standing there. I as an adult, I'd fucking shit my pants.
Yeah, Danny. I mean, Danny needs therapy anyways, but obviously, like that would trigger years of therapy.
But he had the wherewithal. To say it's just pictures in a book, and he shuts his eyes and they're gone.
Oh, Danny's great. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, his acting isn't great, but he's great. So
he's a kid, Chris. He's a kid.
Monday. Yeah, well, the girl in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she won an Oscar. She was so great. What were you saying, Mike?
I was just saying Tony was a good actor.
Tony was a great actor. So Monday, Danny's watching TV, and he wants to find his fire truck. This is what she's like. Don't wake your father. She's probably terrified.
The TV that wasn't plugged in.
Boy. Yeah, I did. That's true.
It wasn't plugged in. I looked. It wasn't.
So Jack's awake.
Unless it was really tightly plugged in from the back, but you know.
This is almost a little.
Maybe that TV didn't even exist.
I wish that documentary didn't exist.
So let's get back to The Shining. So this is almost a warm moment even between Jack and Danny. He's like, because he calls him Doc. Like, how's it going, Doc? I want you to have a good time. Wish we could stay here forever. And you still have this suspenseful music.
But it takes a turn, right? Oh no, that's not where he talks about the dream.
No, he's like, oh well, he says, you know, I would never hurt you, mommy, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
how's it going, Doc?
Okay.
Having a good time?
Yes, Dad.
Good. I want you to have a good time.
I am, Dad. Dad?
Yes.
Do you feel bad?
No. Just a little bit tired.
Then why don't you go to sleep?
I can't. I got too much to do.
Dad? Do you like this hotel?
Yeah. I do. I love it. Don't you?
I guess so.
Good. I want you to like it here. I wish we could stay here forever, ever, ever.
Dad?
What?
You would never hurt Mommy or me, would you?
What do you mean? Did your mother ever say that to you? That I would hurt you?
No, Dad.
You sure?
Yes, Dad.
I love you, Danny. I love you more than anything else in the whole world. I would never do anything to hurt you. Never. You know that, don't you? Huh?
Yes, Dad.
that's a weird thing to say. I mean, you already have.
Well, Danny asked him, didn't he, if you would hurt them?
Oh, right. That's right. He did.
Oh, is
And
that
that's
okay?
that's when he got really pissed.
Oh yeah, he says, "Would you hurt?" Yeah.
Did your mother say? What did your mother say to you, basically?
This is why you get the big bucks.
He's still pissed that, you know, she's basically shitting on him for hurting her own child years ago.
Yeah.
You could never get away with that.
What an outrage. She's ridiculous. Bringing that up.
Oh dear.
Okay, Wednesday. Danny playing with the cars on that rug. This is great. The ball rolls.
That's where he's wearing the Apollo 11 sweater.
Yes,
and that's where the ball rolls.
We're not going to get into the moon landing. So
no, but the carpet was open with the ball, and then when he gets up, the carpet area was closed around him. Right?
Yes, I guess
it was.
I hate.
No. The imagery is awesome. Like Kubrick does all this massively.
There's a reason for that. So
I agree. So then Danny goes to room 237. It's open, which is very different from the book. Door opens, and then you see Wendy in the boiler room doing Jack's job. You hear Jack screaming. This is like, isn't this like just good to see him in a different thing? Like seeing him so traumatized. Not good, but it's like
actually showing that, you know, he's like
some of his best acting too. He's like so upset. Most horrible dream I've ever had.
What happened? Honey, what's wrong? Jack?
My most terrible nightmare I ever had. It's the most horrible dream I ever had.
It's okay now. Really.
Well, I dreamed that I killed you and Danny. But I didn't just kill you. I cut you up into little pieces. Oh, my God. I must be losing my mind.
Maybe I don't even say that dream. I had a dream I killed you and Danny, and not only that, I cut you into little pieces. Maybe
anyway, let's go get lunch.
He's like, oh, well, that's okay. She's like, you know.
Well, he was, to his defense, he was absolutely disturbed in the dream.
Yes, of course he was.
Which is great acting, because he looked, I mean, if you had a dream that you hacked up your family, you would look like that.
Yeah, so. I wouldn't tell my wife.
Yes, I never told my family. I wouldn't tell my family.
So this is so well shot. You see this shot of Danny walking in from behind, you know. So you know, and you see when, like, what's the matter, Danny? And then you see the music. Like I said, is great. The tension it builds, and then you see Wendy coming over, and when she's noticing it, and she's like, "You did this. You did this to him, son of a bitch." And the score is great.
In his face,
that's the other gift he does. He does the.
Yep. Chris, they can't see you. They can't see you.
They can
he's
on
like
the
a
YouTube
little frozen.
version.
He's just like a little frozen. That was
of course
weird.
they can see me.
It was like catatonic.
So it's the look of bewilderment. Like, what are you talking about?
What?
Yes.
He has no idea what's going on.
But he has one arm up. And this is when he goes to the bar. This is when he wishes he had a glass of goddamn beer. And that's when he looks up, the way he shows it. He looks up and you see Lloyd.
A little slow tonight, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Mr. Torrance. What'll it be?
I'm awfully glad you asked me that, Lloyd. Because I just happen to have 2 20s and 2 10s right here in my wallet. I was afraid they were going to be there till next April. So here's what. You slip me a bottle of bourbon, a little glass, and some ice. You can do that, can't you, Lloyd? You're not too busy, are you?
No, sir. I'm not busy at all.
Good man. You set him up and I'll knock him back, Lloyd. One by one. White man's burden, Lloyd, my man. White man's burden.
So this is when I mean, I'm assuming the ghosts are starting to reveal themselves more to him.
It's the hotel revealing ghosts from the past.
Yeah.
Yes. The hotel's doing it, Mikey, not the ghost.
And he's like, what'll it be? Yeah, $60 on him. Why don't you say you slip me a bottle of bourbon? White man's burden, Lloyd. We can get into that. White man's burden.
Jesus.
Which
see, it's another Native American thing.
That's right, but it's also, I think he's talking about alcohol, but it also could mean what's the word I'm looking for?
The genocide.
It's also the Native American thing about him, about the white man having control, and because he gets right into
like trying
5 miserable months, and then he starts complaining about Wendy. So it's almost like I have to do this, and his all the stuff that he's burdened with.
He's like, women can't live with him.
In control, right? Acting like he's in control of everything. Acting like he needs to put his woman in control.
Yep.
Maybe synonymous. But
now in the book, Jack does more of the boiler room stuff and everything else. He takes care of the hotels.
I believe it. Yeah, I told you. Yeah. He doesn't do a goddamn thing.
He doesn't do anything.
He's lazy. He's a lazy fuck in the movie.
Sleeps till 11:30, and then he pretend drinks. So, and then Lloyd says, Lloyd does the old women can't live with them, can't live without them. And then he's like, I never touched Danny. I never would. I would never lay a hand up. I love the little bastard. It's great how he puts that.
And then he explains the time he did.
Like, oh, yeah. The little fucker, he threw his papers on the floor. I mean, Jack has a point there. Threw his papers on the floor. But I love the way he phrased it. I had a momentary loss of muscular coordination.
I wrote that down, yes.
And then a few different, a few square pounds of, I forget how he phrased it.
Per inch, whatever it was. That was fantastic acting.
It was.
Unbelievable acting.
Nicholson really should have been nominated for Best Actor.
I was shocked that nobody was.
It's insane. Well, not nobody, just him.
But I mean, I was shocked that it wasn't for anything,
Yeah, like art directing or something. So then Wendy comes and says, she's freaking out. She's like, Jack, somebody attacked Danny. He strangled him. He goes, are you out of your fucking mind? She's like, yes, Danny went into the room. And then he says, which room was it? The way he says it. And then they cut, obviously. And first the next shot is Dick's room in Miami. The way they shoot the pan back, and you see his feet on the bed, and he's got some great artwork. Music builds. You see Dick's terrified face. You see, get the Danny's freaking face.
Because Danny's signaling that there's a lot of shit going on already.
Yeah.
So they're yeah.
So then Jack goes to.
It would have been funny if when he packed up to leave, he also packed up the booby posters, put them on the bag to bring with him.
He should have. Can't leave these at home. Pull one out for. All right, spoilers. So then we get to it. Really, kind of an iconic scene because as a kid, I was like, "What the fuck?" So Jack gets to the room 237. And he pans around, you see towards the bathroom. Jack, you see his point of view. A hand opens the door. He looks freaked out, but he's a little intrigued.
Oh yeah.
And then somebody's in the shower, a naked chick. She turns, she opens the curtain. Jack turns into a little smile. And then you get the full bush shot.
Yes. Okay. I was wondering if it was going to be said. I thought about it and then said, I'll let someone else.
So fucking 80s.
It was. Well, and then who would have known Jack would have stepped on his wife like this? It seems like such
Jack went right character. Like he didn't even think. It was almost like a big romantic reunion. He just grabbed her.
Did you see the smile on his face? That little smirk on his face. Priceless.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Even see him kissing her when she's
the old lady,
younger woman.
So was a little trivia for you. In the book, was it the old lady that died in the tub or the younger version of her?
Oh yeah, because this isn't the book, but yes, it was some lady who killed herself. But doesn't matter here. But he starts to kiss her, and then you see him look in the mirror, and
then she turns into Mama Fratelli.
Well, it kind of does because the hotel consumes these people. It wanted that person too.
But I just want to say, this scene is tough to beat off to.
Because the laughing, right? It's just
I didn't say impossible. I did not say impossible. If you put it on mute, just kidding. So it's
classic.
I
just want to say hi to Bob. If you're listening, hi Bob.
It goes from a hot chick.
I don't mean me.
To a haggard, gross, decaying old woman that he has his hand on an open fucking flesh wound.
Yes, he's horrified, and then the laughing, and then they show her shot. It's just, oh my god, it's horrific.
It's horrific. They show her the tub drowned, and it's just disgusting.
So you have to be in the right mindset to really enjoy that. So then you see Dick trying to call and get through. And then this is great. Jack goes back and tells Wendy, "There's not a goddamn thing, nothing in that room. No, nope.
Yep.
I went to room 237. I sure did.
It's ship shape, all set. No
Why? Why?
And,
he did mention that there was a key in there. Oh, he probably assumed that Danny's trying to intimate that Danny took the key.
Definitely wasn't a woman in that room. I'll tell you that.
I mean, he could have just said, "Yes, there's a ghost. Let's leave." But obviously, he doesn't want to. He's defending.
All right, he doesn't want to, because this is what he says. I think he did it to himself. And she says, "We got to get him out of here." And he totally snaps. Well, and Danny right now is seeing the elevators with blood, right?
Yep.
In that shot again. And he flips on her. This is fucking typical. This is my one chance. By the way, my one chance to be the caretaker in a chintzy job.
Yeah.
You ruin it for me, even though you're doing all the work.
Yeah, but he says, "I love this scene." He's like, "What do you want me to go back to Boulder and shovel driveways?" And I'm like, that was hilarious.
Exactly.
That scene was great.
So yes, it was. So then
the Overlook has a hold on him. He does not want to.
Yes.
Oh, by this point, the Overlook already has its clenches on him. He's already done.
Yes.
There's no getting back to reality.
Which was not tough. Again, we thought the Overlook went after Danny.
Yep.
The Overlook wants to consume his soul and whatnot. And
but to consume his soul, the only way I can do it is go through Jack.
No. I think Jack's a much easier prey.
Yes.
And you can tell he's no Hannibal Lecter as far as villains. You know what I mean? Like we'll get to that, but boy, does he suck at everything.
Well, he's an inept teacher. He's an inept writer. It just, of course, it's like that's the best they could get, but
can't even chop up his wife and kid.
Right. I mean,
one simple thing.
He's
one job. You had one job.
Yeah.
So this is when Jack's pissed off. Dick's calling the fire department to see if they can call on the radio. Jack goes to walks down the hall. He's all pissed off. He sees all the balloons. Then he goes into the room. This is great. This is when he orders. He can't pay, but he's, hair of the dog that bit me.
Good evening, Mr. Torrance. Good evening.
But this is just hearing him say everything is so, the way he's, so moving his hands around. He's
basically
he's so charismatic.
He's basically dancing. He's dancing into the gold.
Hi, Lloyd. Been away, but now I'm back.
Good evening, Mr. Torrance. It's good to see you.
It's good to be back, Lloyd.
What'll it be, sir?
Hair of the dog that bit me.
Bourbon
The
on
party's
rocks.
full blown. Like he's
Yes,
having,
yeah.
that's
It's
what he
just
wants.
riot. But this, like I said, this is like an all-time charismatic scene, character.
This is like Chris
Then-
Morris. This is like Chris Morris, 1994, coming in after 3 o'clock. You know,
Circa 94, yeah.
No charge, dear Mr. Torrance.
No charge?
Your money's no good here. Orders from the house.
Orders from the house.
Drink up, Mr. Torrance.
I'm the kind of man likes to know who's buying their drinks, Lloyd.
It's not a matter that concerns you, Mr. Torrance. At least not at this point.
Anything you say, Lloyd. Anything you say.
And then he gets up and Grady spills his drink. He spills it all over him, right? Calls him Jeeves. And they go to the red bathroom. How great is that?
That thing was just, yeah.
So like bright and colorful. And he's like, asks him his name. He's like, Grady? Delbert Grady? Which, by the way, so his name was, I have a buddy, Mike Grady. I always reference him to piss him off. Likes his booze also. Hi, Grady, if you listen. But he's like Delbert Grady, and then obviously it's Charles Grady in the story. So you don't know if the guy screwed it up, but it's also like, because Jack acts like it's Delbert. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But
oh, wait. Ullman at the beginning says Charles Grady.
Yes.
And now it's Delbert Grady?
Right. And the way Jack says it. Right. So it's like, did he mess up or
Right.
is it like, you would think it's like a reincarnation. Maybe it's a different Grady. So it's just all that, Kubrick did it like on purpose, whatever.
Yeah,
happened.
something like that isn't an accident.
But it's right. It's Delbert, right? Because it's Delbert Grady, and I love this. He's like, and Jack, he's looking at his fingers. I can't do it. And he's like, am I really here? He's kind of like trying to get his senses, and he's like, weren't you the caretaker here? He's like, no. And Nicholson's so great in the scene, but he's like, Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here.
Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here. I recognize you. I saw your picture in the newspapers. You, chopped your wife and daughter up into little bits. And, then you blew your brains out.
The guy's reaction. This guy is great. Actually, this guy might be the third best actor in the movie.
That's strange, sir. I don't have any recollection of that at all.
Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here.
I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. I should know, sir. I've always been here.
And he's like, he's like, that's strange. He goes, I don't have any recollection of that. You're the caretaker, sir. You've always been the caretaker.
That you've always.
I should know that. I've always been here. Then he tells him about Danny trying to bring in outside parties, right? I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
That's what you realize. Like the hotel really has. It's reincarnated every single one of its souls that it's consumed.
Yeah.
To use how they will.
I was waiting to see something in the mirror at the bathroom, like the old lady. Like I thought he was going to see a ghost in the mirror or something like that.
Right.
The hotel shows you what it wants to show you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then he's like, and then he tells him about Danny trying to bring in outside parties. And he's like, who? And he's like, Jack's like, really? And then he's like, a N-bomb cook. Yes. But the way this guy says it, and he's like, yeah, your son has a talent. And Jack's like, he's a very willful boy. But the way the guy says it, he's a rather naughty boy, if I may say.
Your son has a very great talent. I don't think you are aware how great it is. But he is attempting to use that very talent against your will.
He is a very willful boy.
Indeed he is, Mr. Torrance. A very willful boy. A rather naughty boy, if I may be so bold, sir.
It's his mother. She interferes.
Perhaps they need a good talking to, if you don't mind my saying so. Perhaps a bit more. My girls, sir, they didn't care for the Overlook at first. One of them actually stole a pack of matches and tried to burn it down. But I corrected them, sir. And when my wife tried to prevent me from doing my duty, I corrected her.
Talks about his daughters, and then I corrected them. The way he says it. Dave.
Yeah. And then when my wife intervened, I corrected her too.
I corrected her. Yeah, that's good. I don't know what he meant by that, but no. So then they show Wendy freaking out. Oh, so Danny's screaming, "Red room!" Right? This is when he says it right away.
Red room, red room.
Red rum. 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 Stop it. Red rum. Red rum.
Yep.
Well, because he's sensing his dad is plotting to kill them both now.
Yeah, starts saying red. Oh, he's saying it. Red room is Tony. He's saying it like Tony.
Yeah.
Danny's gone away. She's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Jack goes to the main office. You know, he takes apart the radio because he hears it. They're trying to contact them. He takes out the fuses or whatever. Dick calls back. They didn't answer the radio. Then this is the beginning of Dick's poor long journey. So he flies Continental back in the 80s. This is what I put, starting the terribly long travel to where he gets.
They
The
show
music.
him the rental car.
Yeah, he said poor everything. And then, so Jack's typing. I have written down, zooming in on the room. Then you have Apollo's trainer, I put. I forget the actor. He gets a call from Dick. Terrible acting by him.
See, I didn't think that.
Really? It's fine. He said, okay, you need a snow cap. So Dick needs a snow cap. Did I say snow?
Snow cat? Yeah.
Snow cat, yes. He tells he says the kid, that's Larry. I'm sorry. Let's get his name right. Let's Larry. The caretakers are unreliable assholes.
Yeah, he's given a good excuse that makes
right.
sense.
He's not going to say, well, I have this thing called The Shining. So, okay, flash to Wendy and Danny watching the Roadrunner. Tony still answers. She locks the door and grabs a bat. Oh, this is what she sees his writing, right? This is when she's.
Yes.
This is another iconic scene. She goes.
And all I thought about was, this isn't now where you could quickly do copy and paste on a computer. Some low intern production assistant, somebody had to type all those pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In basically different fonts almost.
Different fonts, different formats,
Different formats,
yeah,
right.
just like
All over the
sometimes it
place.
looked like a script, sometimes it was a writing, sometimes it was like poetry. It was all over the place.
Yeah. The Simpsons did the great parody on this too. right?
Yes, they did. They did.
So all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. And
the terror on her face in that scene was priceless, though.
I have
She
written down,
realizes-
maybe her
she's
husband might be
reading that-
batshit crazy.
Well,
I'm
she's
sorry.
reading it. She's realizing that her husband is now just insane.
Yes.
Plus,
I just-
how long he's been insane, how long it's taken him to write that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So she's going through every page, or she's flipping through them. Holy, but you get the great score too. It's awesome. So then Jack scares her. You see his point of view. How do you like it? And she's like, great. And then
That's
Danny,
what I heard a little Joker, even with that. Just
and then it flashes to Danny. He's seeing blood flowing again. They must put like a red screen over the camera, right? Did you see that? How it makes like the
yep,
the red
call it like
blood.
a gel, or put it over the lights even to make the room
Yeah.
like that.
And then this is great. We should discuss what needs to happen with Danny, right?
Maybe it was about Danny. Maybe it was about him. I think we should discuss Danny. I think we should discuss what should be done with him. What should be done with him?
I don't know.
I don't think that's true. I think you have some very definite ideas about what should be done with Danny, and I'd like to know what they are.
Well, I think maybe he should be taken to a doctor.
You think maybe he should be taken to a doctor?
Yes.
When do you think maybe he should be taken to a doctor?
As soon as possible. As soon as possible. Jack. Please.
You believe his health might be at stake.
Yes.
You are concerned about him.
Yes.
And are you concerned about me?
Of course I am.
Of course you are. Have you ever thought about my responsibilities?
Oh, Dick, what are you talking about?
Have you ever had a single moment's thought about my responsibilities? Have you ever thought for a single solitary moment about my responsibilities to my employers? Has it ever occurred to you that I have agreed to look after the Overlook Hotel until May the 1st? Does it matter to you at all that the owners have placed their complete confidence and trust in me, and that I have signed a letter of agreement, a contract, in which I have accepted that responsibility? Do you have the slightest idea what a moral and ethical principle is, do you? Has it ever occurred to you what would happen to my future if I were to fail to live up to my responsibilities? Has it ever occurred to you? Has it?
Stay with me.
Why?
I just want to go back to my room.
Why?
This was such a fucking great scene, though, because this is where you realize he doesn't want to be married. Doesn't want to have a
This is where
child.
you realize.
Well, no, but this is where he really lets it out.
You've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What good's a few minutes more gonna do you now?
Stay with me.
And, I mean, I'm not saying that's how a lot of people feel, but if you feel that way and it comes out that way, it's.
Are your children around, David? Your children around?
No, I love my kids.
So,
They're
and
great,
then he
they're
has a
great.
great line, Wendy, darling, light of my life.
Oh,
I'm not gonna hurt you.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me.
Wendy,
Stay away.
darling, light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them right the fuck in.
Stay away from me.
And he's like, well, just let me finish.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
I'm just gonna
Yep.
bash brains in.
I'm gonna bash him right the fuck in.
Right the fuck in, right?
I love it.
This was my favorite scene watching it the first time you watch it.
Put the bat down, Wendy.
Stop it!
Wendy, give me the bat.
Please! Get away!
Give me the bat.
Stop it!
Give me the bat.
Stay away from me.
Stop swinging the bat.
Please stop!
Give me the bat,
Stay away!
Wendy.
Die!
Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Ah, God damn!
Oh, so great.
Very inept Jack, up the stairs, and he lunges for the bat, and then she hits him, and then he's right for the pick, and she smacks him, right? Goes down the stairs. Great. She drags him. She's still worried about him too. You know what I mean? Like I really think she's something's wrong with him. I don't think she thinks the hotel is possessing him, but she's like, I'm going to put him in here and get help. So she drags him, and I love how he because you get scared. It's pretty suspenseful because he's waking up as she's dragging him. And then you see him like, Wendy, I'm hurt real bad, after she locks him in and he tries to reach.
That shot of under his chin, like under his face.
Oh,
you can see him.
So the camera from below, and he says, Wendy, I'm hurt real bad. And then
you can
she
see
says,
yeah.
You could see him lying in his face, like you could see him trying to think of things.
Yes.
He goes from being like this, like I need the sympathy and the help, to go check it out. When he starts,
that's when she says, I'm going to take the snowcat and the radio, and I'm going to go. And then he's like, and then
you got nothing coming.
He's like, yeah, you better, go. He couldn't contain his amusement. And then Grady wakes Jack up by knocking on the door. So this is the first time where you're like, he's a ghost. It's not. You could think the theory could be that it's all he's going crazy, nothing to do with the hotel.
Yep.
But then someone lets him out. Right.
Exactly. The hotel unlocks the door. So.
And supposedly, I guess they said that when they were writing the screenplay, they were like trying to think of something. They're like, we don't think your heart is in it. They're like, you suck. They're like, you suck.
For it.
You suck at butchering your family. And we don't think you have the belly for it.
Mr. Torrance, I see you can hardly have taken care of the business we discussed.
No need to rub it in, Mr. Grady. I'll deal with that situation as soon as I get out of here.
Will you indeed, Mr. Torrance? I wonder. I have my doubts. I and others have come to believe that your heart is not in this, that you haven't the belly for it.
Just give me one more chance to prove it, Mr. Grady. That's all I ask.
Your wife appears to be stronger than we imagined, Mr. Torrance. Somewhat more resourceful. She seems to have got the better of you.
The moment, Mr. Grady. Only for the moment.
I fear you will have to deal with this matter in the harshest possible way, Mr. Torrance. I fear that is the only thing to do.
There's nothing I look forward to with greater pleasure, Mr. Grady.
You give your word on that, do you, Mr. Torrance?
I give you my word.
And then, okay, so Dick continues his planes, trains,
Adventure.
and automobiles adventure to an unfortunate end. I think he's driving now. So then you see Danny / Tony start saying red rum. And this, I remember this as a kid, seeing the scene, like blown away at what red rum was. And he's saying, grabs the lipstick, grabs the knife, walks over, but you're kind of like, what's he gonna do?
He checks the blade on the knife too.
He writes.
I thought he was gonna write it in blood.
Writes red room, and the music is building up, and then this is when Jack starts smashing the door in when she sees murder in the mirror, and it all.
Well, as soon as she wakes up, and hears him saying those words, the axe of the door comes. So
and it turns into Danny.
Says,
really, it turns. He snaps into Danny because he's saying it right.
But it was Danny saying, "I know what's coming. Get up." Saying to his mother.
No, absolutely right, exactly. And then this is The Shining. He's got The Shining. I wish Dick's Shining would have helped him out. He should. I'm gonna wait out.
He's a little.
Dick Shining should have been like. Dick Shining should have helped him and been like, I'm about to get out of the snowcat. I'm like, I'm just gonna beep the horn. I'm just gonna lean on the. I'm gonna wait till they come out here. I'm gonna read one of my
alternate endings.
I'm gonna read one of my. Well, the alternate ending is the book where he. Do you know that, Michael?
Yeah.
No, what happens to Hal? You tell me.
Well, let's wait till we get to the spot. But again, he probably would have had like a big Bush magazine or something. He should have been like in 70s bushes or something, and
just reading in the snowcat and waiting for them to come out.
Only because he has The Shining. He's like, oh, that jackass is right around the corner. So yeah. Then you see the iconic axing of the door, and they go into the bathroom. Wendy, I'm home.
And I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny.
His performances continues to be amazing.
Completely ad-libbed.
Come out wherever you are. Right.
Chris, that was completely ad-libbed.
All of it?
No, not all of it.
Here's Johnny's scene was
ad-libbed.
Yes, but right. We right, exactly. I don't
know.
What
the most iconic sentence in the entire movie was ad-libbed.
And then they had the great shot on his face too, which is also a great.
At this point, Danny is out the.
He tells Danny to leave.
Out the window.
He tells Danny to leave. Yeah, and Danny slides down, and you hear like it's like sirens, but the music is like sirens, and it's and she can't fit. And this is when he's like, little pigs, let me in."
See, I thought at one point it was the horn of like horns beeping, but it was just the score. Like it was very
Oh, it's awesome. And then he chops the door, and he does, which has some continuity errors, and part of the door is different. They probably said that
there was a reason why
in the documentary, but then that's when he does He Is Johnny, and they do the great close up, and then he tries to grab his hand in. Wendy slashes him. Oh, he does the he's kind of a pussy.
He's very
He's a pussy in that scene.
Yeah.
But that's when he hears Dick's. That's when he hears the snowcat.
And he hears him, which saves Wendy.
Yeah.
And Danny runs back in. He hides in the kitchen, hides under it. Wendy leaves. Poor Dick Halloran walks in. He's like, holy shit! I like what a ride! I gotta hit the head.
I'm cold. We gotta warm up.
I just pissed my pants a little bit.
Where is the bathroom? How about turn on your Shining? Dick, turn on your Shining for the love of God, please. Please. I mean, it's not even so. So in the movie, this does not happen at all. In the movie, this does not happen at all. Dick Halloran saves them at the end of in the book.
Yes.
I mean. Sorry.
Well, technically Dick saves them, but technically Jack does too.
Yes. Okay. Well, right. So instead we hear, freaking psycho-esque music.
Okay, but the way that Jack strikes him in the fucking hot.
Oh my God.
And he's like smiling as he's doing
it. He screams though. Jack screamed.
Yeah.
It's horrific. I can barely watch that scene.
For some reason I thought it was going to be an axe in the back because I think that's what the Simpsons did.
Oh, exactly. He screams. Danny, you see screaming, but oh my God, it's terrible. And supposedly Scatman Crothers did his own stunt where he had to fall down, and they did it like 10 times.
Oh, Jesus.
Like all sore, and he was like, "Take it easy with that axe." And Jack was his buddy, so Jack was. But yeah, that was horrific. It was horrific. Mostly because of that long travel.
Yep.
And he did not
My
use
legs are killing me.
Damn it, I had Shining disabled. Danny screams. You see Danny, the intense music. Then Wendy walks up. Wendy walks up the stairs. This is where she sees the bear. Is it a bear or a dog?
Okay.
It's a dog.
What the hell? Why? What? Just to be freaky? Just for freaky sake? Or is there?
Yeah.
Is there some reading into it?
Too. By the way, this was in the book, I think.
It was.
Right?
It was in the book, yeah. But a lot of this stuff was in the book too. So this is when the hotel really reveals itself to Wendy and shows it for what it really is.
Okay, so there's no like fancy reading. The documentary didn't read anything into
no, the documentary
bestiality.
The documentary basically said this is the hotel showing itself for what it is.
I remember trying to look up that scene like years ago, being like, "What the fuck is that?" The bear's blood or a dog. I'm sorry. But, hey.
Reach his own. Everyone, reach his own. We have
what happens in the Overlook stays in the Overlook.
We have a very broad audience that I respect all of them equally. So whatever, do what you will.
Like I said, right?
No,
whatever
I'm going to say.
Overlook,
except for anyone who's into bestiality, I don't respect you. Just want to put it out there. I'm the anti-bestiality guy. Dave's pro. I'm on the anti side.
So, anyways, you get after the dog sex scene. I'm sorry, the dog suit, Michael.
Yes.
This is when Danny's running in the snow, runs into the maze. By the way, the more I watch this, you're like, oh, that's an iconic scene, but you're like, it's great. It takes a few minutes, and it's just the camera is unbelievable, right?
Like they had to have like a steady cam chasing him, and
so he's chasing him. So every shot you see Danny from, behind, and then every shot you see Jack, you see from in front of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like his point of view.
And when you're in front of Dan, you can't how do you fix all the snow footprints of all the cameramen too? It's like how meticulous that had to be.
It was awesome though, the music and just the snow. It's great. You see, so they cut to Wendy real fast. You see Wendy, she sees Dick on the floor. She pours one out for him. You zoom in, you see she sees the guy with the blood down his head, right?
Yes.
Yep.
He welcomes her.
Great party.
Great party, right? And then okay, so cool seeing Danny from the Then Danny, she sees some. Oh, they cut back to the Jack and Danny, and Danny starts doing the backwards footsteps, which is great. So now they show Danny from the front. Does the footsteps thing.
What a resilient, smart kid right there.
Really?
Was it The Shining?
Not only that, he's like, okay, and then for some reason, I never thought I'm like, all right, he hid. I didn't even think about how he got out because probably I know, but he obviously just followed
his footprints. Yeah.
Footprints. in. And then she sees the elevator, she sees the blood, she sees
She doesn't see the twins, right? No.
Cutting back and forth. She doesn't see the twins. She sees a bunch of skeletons.
Oh, that's right. The skeletons are in the... Yeah.
So I've written down Jack is very dumb, to be honest. But we know that. But this is actually very smart, so it would be confusing. And I have may seen longer than I remembered. It is great. It's really great. And then he comes out. She sees a couple of skeletons, which is like kind of stupid. But,
Okay.
yeah. Then he comes out of the maze, sees her.
They get in the snow
cat. Yep. And then he hears it. Jack's in the maze. He's getting tired. He hears the engine.
His lungs are like. That made me think of Wind River a little. The cold air and how you can't kind of.
Oh yeah. Like how cold was it? Because that was pretty fucking cold to get Jack like that. But again, what a
overnight.
And then it cuts the iconic shot of.
So. It just like. The end felt so abrupt. They drive off. He kind of sits down. Then the next day we get the shot, which I got to tell you, if you depending on how you look at it, it looks a little silly. Just that look on his face, like it almost looks.
Yeah,
comedic.
it's almost comical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. If you took it for itself, but it was,
And then it just went boom right into the ballroom. Like
yes,
I was like,
awesome job of there was a couple different endings. I guess there was a shot with Ullman coming to Danny and Wendy in the hospital or something.
Oh wow,
which would have been terrible. This was the perfect ending.
Yep,
perfect ending. Of the close up and the music, and
now,
then you see the picture of Jack.
But for anyone that likes The Shining, right? And I know we're gonna just real quickly, but
that's the movie we're talking about.
No. Dr. Sleep did a great job of recapturing that entire hotel at the end. I gotta say, just like pay tribute to that movie because it did an unbelievable job to how that hotel looked, how it, how it came alive.
It gave you great nostalgia. Now, it's a totally different movie, but the first half of it, you watch it, it's a really good movie. But again, we're not doing Dr. Sleep. But again,
but when you get to the ending of that movie, it is literally The Shining. And when Danny walks into those halls, it like comes alive again for him.
Yes. Okay.
So I want to mention something alongside of that. So have you ever seen Ready Player One?
No.
So it's Steven Spielberg, and it's like you're in this virtual, VR like video game that's supposed to be so like realistic. In the book, there's this big like puzzle they have to solve, and they're in the world of War Games, the movie. In the movie, Spielberg made it so you actually had to live through The Shining, and he recreated a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really?
They'd have to go through. Yeah, it's really cool. It was really cool because Spielberg loves Kubrick. I mean, that AI was supposed to be a Kubrick movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I actually just read a short book on Kubrick this week.
Whoa. Huge.
It didn't have. I thought it would have more of like The Shining and stuff like that, but it was. The guy who he consulted, he became good friends with, who did Full Metal Jacket. The guy did, I forget what was the name of. The guy did a war movie, and then he consulted a bunch, and he was.
Army?
No, not.
When you say consultant, because that's what he was originally. He was a consultant.
Oh yeah, we could do Full Metal. I could do the first half of Full Metal Jacket on a 3-hour pod.
Yeah.
But
so that ending. It's to me saying that
July 4th.
Is it that his reincarnated spirit has always been coming back? He was probably the other guy, maybe the original.
Again, it's some ambiguity.
It's left up to interpretation of the viewer, really, Mike.
But whether he was reincarnated, has always been there, or
could he have been Grady too? I don't know. That
got absorbed into the history, or just absorbed into the Overlook.
Right. So now he is a ghost that when someone else comes, I've always been here. This is just
Right. It's
when Delbert Grady tells Jack he's always been there, it's basically saying he's implying that the hotel literally has revisited its past time and time again. Really,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So it will consume everything that. Well, it consumes everything. It consumes every soul that it wants, really. Except for Danny, who was smart enough to get away from it.
Because he has The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
But it consumed poor Dick Halloran.
Dick Halloran had it too. He just shut it off.
He had the shitty Shining.
Yeah, poor guy. So yeah, he didn't even know he was going to get killed. Scatman Crothers.
Oh, in the movie, he didn't know.
He didn't even know
until Jack swung the axe at him.
Well, he read the book. He was all excited, and Jack. I read something that even said Jack said, "Here's my man. Here's my man Scatman." They were golfing or something, and he said he's the hero in the movie or something, because they thought it was good.
That's funny.
And Crazy Kubrick's like, no, I swear Kubrick was like, I'm gonna make this guy travel so far, and then
he actually made him go to Florida, make him come back.
Honestly, yeah, the scene is disturbing to watch, but it's amazing, and like, I actually want to rewatch it right now.
Didn't he shit on Shelley Duvall the entire movie?
Well, see, I read something where she said he treated her warmly.
Okay.
She said
it was
that
difficult.
It was a terrible time. Like he liked her supposedly, but he had her do like a million takes. I read a story today. It's like it basically was saying The Shining. The purpose of The Shining was to shine a light on that's not why it was called The Shining, but it said it shined a light on the audience's misogyny towards Shelley Duvall, because they turn on her, and the guy was like wrote a whole story about how she really wasn't weak. People like talked about how feeble that kind of like
feel that way at all.
Yeah, she was right.
I mean, there was moments she was frightened.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I told you I was team Shelley.
Right.
Yeah. It was a great movie.
David, is there anything in your notes that we haven't addressed?
Not really. I think we covered everything. Was it good? What was it? An hour and a half worth?
My goodness, yes.
Coffee?
So, yeah, I think we nailed it. Do we want to talk about what's coming up next?
Are we doing another scary movie?
'Tis the season. We're going to be going back to a couple of years before this movie, 1978. No, Chris, no. Sorry, we're not going to be doing the Human Centipede
2013.
yet. 2000 Human Centipede is for Valentine's Day. We're saving it for Valentine's Day.
Nice. Okay.
We're going to be going back to 1978 to Haddonfield, a little place called Haddonfield. John Carpenter classic, Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasance. No, we're not doing the newish remake. We're not going close to the Rob Zombie. We're going back to the original John Carpenter's Halloween. I can't wait for this one.
I'm excited.
It's a good one. It's a simple one too.
It is. It's a pretty simple movie. But
it is pretty simple.
But pretty great.
Maybe we can maybe you can fit 2 more in October.
Oh, I think we can.
Maybe
Really?
one Dave just watched.
That one's fucking terrifying. My Andrea hated it, but that last half hour was probably one of the scariest movies.
Of course she hated it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I did not watch that with Tammy. Nope.
She thought it was the dumbest movie in the world. I was like, the last half hour, like, oh my god, I'm pissing my pants. It's so scary.
Well,
By the
we're
way,
not there
Dave is
yet.
talking about.
Ooh.
Should we say?
Sure.
No. Maybe we'll do it next.
Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Pretty good.
All right. Do any final words, Christopher?
I guess I'm gonna watch the Red Sox after this, right? They're still on.
They're up 11-6 now, man. They're killing
They're
it.
up 11-6, but no, all work and no play makes Dave, a dull boy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
follow us on Twitter.
Yes, follow us on Twitter, fine_movies. Follow us on our Instagram, fine movies, fine spirits.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. We'll see you soon talking about Halloween. All right. Say goodbye, David.
Goodbye, guys. Fucking, what does it mean? Just what does it mean?
We talk about great movies while drinking. We talk about great movies while drinking. Yeah, we talk about great movies while drinking. And we feel fine.
I was going to be like, it's the spooky season. I was going to try to make a theme. Welcome to the spooky season.
Flip that.
Fans, not experts.